What's up developers, it's Dari here and welcome back to a new video where we're going to cover the contains, except and only methods, which are all used to manipulate data in Laravel. We're going to start off with the contains method, which does exactly what the name of the method says. It literally checks whether a value exists inside the collection. So we have our collection defined, which we're going to use because we're going to chain the contains method to it. The contains method takes one argument, which is the value you want to check for in the collection. So let's pass in 3. Once we perform our request, you will see that it returns back with true, meaning that a value does exist. If it doesn't exist, it will return false. In our case, an integer of 3 does exist, so let's change the value to 30. Once we perform our request, you will see that it has returned back with false, meaning that the value does not exist inside the array. As simple as that. The second method that I want to cover is the except method, which is used to remove one of the items from a collection. Now before we could use it properly, let's actually define a collection with key value pairs. So let's set our collection variable equal to the collect method. Let's pass in an array with 3 key value pairs. The first one is name, which will be equal to Kevin De Bruyne. Then we have the age, which will be set equal to 31. And we have the club, which is equal to Manchester City. So whenever you want to use the except method, you first need to use your collection variable and chain the except method to it. The except method takes one or more arguments, where one is required and all the other ones are optional, which can be as many as you want that will represent the keys of the items you want to remove from the collection. So let's say that we love the name of Kevin De Bruyne, we also love the club, but let's get rid of the age. Now what this will do is simply filtering through the collection, it will try to find a match where the key is age and it will create a new collection with the specified items removed. The original collection is not modified. Well, to actually create a new collection, we need to set the except method equal to a variable. So let's say filtered. Right now, we will create a new collection named filtered, which has a key of name and a value of Kevin De Bruyne, and another one of club and Manchester City. Now, like I've said, we could also pass in multiple keys, so let's pass in a comma, let's say club, where it will only show the name of the player. Next to only picking key value pairs, you could use the only method, which will retrieve one or more items from a collection. So what I want to do right here is to find a new variable named filtered, and I want to set it equal to our collection variable and chain the only method to it. It works pretty much in the same exact way, where it takes one argument that is required and all the others are optional, which can also be as many as you want that will represent the key of the items you want to remove from a collection. So let's say age and club again. Once we perform our request, you will see that we have used the only method to get the name and the age item from the collection. Now let's have a look at a couple advantages, disadvantages, and when to use these methods. The contains method is particularly useful when you need to check if an item exists in a collection, without having to loop through the entire collection manually. Now both the except and only methods are useful when you want to filter a collection based on certain criteria. However, it's worth noting that these methods can be slower than using a for each loop in certain situations. If you work with a very large collection, it may be more efficient to loop through a collection manually rather than using these methods. Unfortunately, these methods do not work on Laravel models or queries, because it can only be used on collections. So we can't simply say, well, article where the user underscore ID is equal to 1, except the excerpt and the description, and finally get me the values. Once we perform our request, you'll see that I have not pulled in my article class. Perform it again, you will see that we get an undefined method because the except method does not exist. If you want to select specific columns from your query like we have been doing right here, you could simply replace the except method with the select method. Apparently the user with user ID 1 has not created any post, so let's change it to 10, where you will see that we have only selected the excerpt and the description of a post. Quick summary, The contains, except and only methods can be used to manipulate data in Laravel. Now in the next tutorial, we're going to dive into mapping collections using the map and the map with keys methods. If you do like my content and you want to see more, leave this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button.